If you're going to go to this new place in your movie, if you're going to go to this place where you're going to meet a place in the heart, a place where it's your chapel, it's your place of prayer, it's your place of consecration. There's only really two people that are ever going to be there: yourself and the person you're meeting. Hopefully that person that you're meeting is the Lord. If this is a heart care chapel, if this is a place where you're going for healing, going for insight, going for knowledge, going for discovery, going for wholeness, you'd want the great physician. You'd want the one who knows all. You'd want the one who cares about you. But here's the difficulty. I guess I'd have to ask you a question. Do you believe that he cares about you? I remember one girl telling me one time that all of the negatives in her life were because of how many things she had done wrong, and it was her punishment. God was holding her feet to the fire. It made me sad to hear her tell me that, because he doesn't hold anyone's feet to the fire. We have an opportunity to be born again, to be renewed and restored in love. That's the dispensation we live in. That's the grace of God. That's the empowerment to be loved when we're not lovely, to be loved when we're not worthy of being loved. You know, if we could go back to Eden and all was perfect, well, maybe you could say, yeah, there's some things about here that God would love. He would be safe. He would be good. But we're not in Eden anymore. And in this place that we've lived in for thousands of years, that has to do with the fall and the curse, we start to believe those lies. We start to believe those untruths. We start to wonder about the things we don't know. And that's a place where it slips in. If you can imagine, the farther and farther and farther away we get from Eden, the farther away we get from really knowing him. So in this place of your Heart Care Chapel, you're going to be meeting with him. I know that I wouldn't want to go meet with someone who would be mad at me. I'm not going to share my heart and be open and vulnerable with someone who would criticize or say, I told you so, or say, that's not how I wanted you to show up. Actually, if you look at how many things have to do with love, it's interesting. 1 Corinthians 13, love doesn't get angry. Love doesn't keep track of the wrongs. Love believes the best of every person. Well, if you put that with some other scriptures, especially in 1 John 4, I've known and believed the love that God has for me because God is love. You could put God in the place of love or charity in 1 Corinthians 13. God's not angry. God believes the best of you. Do you know that he's never been disappointed in you? He's never been angry with you. He's never had a negative thought, because he doesn't have that within him. Love doesn't have that. You know, one of the phrases that I do not like is, I love you in spite of. I hate the in spite of part. I wanted to be someone who was so loved that the person who loved me wouldn't even think that I had a flaw. I think that's what we call unconditional love, or agape. Now, I don't know what you've been told. I don't know what you've experienced. But there's a way in which we all have to grow into learning, knowing, and experience how much he loves us. There's a knowing that has to happen here. And you only know deeply and genuinely by repeated experience. If I worked with someone who was an airplane pilot, and I would ask him, how well do you know how to fly the plane? They would say, I really know how to fly the plane. Well, of course, I would hope they would. They've been to training, they've been in the simulator, they've had plenty of flights, they've had good days, they've had bad days, they've had turbulence, they've had hard landings. They know how to do it because they've lived it, they've done it, they've tasted it, touched it, experienced it. And that's that word know. You remember in Psalms, be still and know that I'm God. That's an experiential word. I've got kids and I know them because I've experienced them. I've experienced them young and older and good and bad and clean and dirty and happy and sad. And I've experienced them. I know them. And this is the path that we've got to start in. If we're going to have a new movie, we're going to have it in the Heart Care Chapel, and there's only 2 people in this movie, you and the Lord. How well do you know him? How well do you know his love? How well do you know his character? Now, there is a part of God that is to be revered. It is to be honored. It is to be respected. He is the King of all kings. And I don't want us to ever lose that. But I think there's a sweet spot in the middle of the road to honor him, respect him, not be loose and sloppy with who he is, but also not to go over to this place where he's unknowable and he's far and he's harsh. No, we want to be in that middle place where it's true that he is awesome and mighty and stuns us. And if he'd show up right now, we wouldn't know what to say, and we would fall at his feet and bow to his majesty. But we also have to remember that he would reach down and he would touch us and he would lift us up and he would say, I love you. I had an experience once with a fellow that I was talking to that he was really struggling with some things he had done, his shame and his embarrassment. And I said to him, what do you suppose God would say to you? And he said, well, God would say he's really disappointed in me. And I could only come back with this reply. Actually, what I think he'd say is, I love you. So let's move forward together. I have some things I want you to know.